I'm Jessica Masterson, Kraus-Anderson's Project Director for the Lakeview Hospital Project. We are excited to be selected by Health Partners to be their construction manager on their new hospital project. The Lakeview Hospital Project is being constructed on a 64-acre site here in Stillwater. The 400,000 square foot campus will consist of a hospital, an outpatient clinic, an ambulatory surgery center, mechanical and electrical penthouses, as well as a central utility plant, all located within one new building. For the next few minutes, we're going to review the Lakeview Hospital Project and our expectations and standards regarding the job site, including traffic, safety, and cleanliness. We look forward to another successful project with you. Here's Kraus-Anderson's Senior Project Manager, Trevor Thompson, with some general requirements.
It is the policy of Kraus-Anderson Construction Company to provide a safe and healthy workplace for all employees, and to abide by all federal, state, and local regulations as they pertain to our operations. To make our approach to safety effective and uniform throughout the organization, Kraus-Anderson Construction Company has adopted the following Lakeview Hospital Site-Specific Safety Plan, which we will actively pursue on this site. The objective of the Lakeview Hospital Site-Specific Safety Plan is to reduce the frequency and severity of accidents and injuries, and is in addition to the Kraus-Anderson Construction Company Safety and Health Program. To be successful, such a program must embody the proper attitudes towards accident prevention on the part of management, supervisors, and employees. It also requires cooperation in all safety and health matters, not only between supervisors and employees, but also between each employee and their fellow workers. Only through such a cooperative effort can a safety record in the best interest of all be established and maintained. As employees, you are responsible for wholehearted, genuine cooperation with all aspects of the Lakeview Hospital Site-Specific Safety Plan, including compliance with all rules and regulations for continuously practicing safety while performing your duties on this site. Accidents cost time and money, but most of all, accidents often cost lives. The Safety Department, project managers, superintendents, and foremen have the full support of management in enforcing the provisions of this policy related to the responsibilities assigned to them. We hope you will share our concern for providing a safe place in which to work, because to make this Lakeview Hospital Site-Specific Safety Plan effective, all of us must work together. Help yourself and your coworkers to be aware and practice safe work habits. The job site employee orientation video will be required to be viewed by all on-site employees prior to gaining access to the site. After viewing the video and completing the job site orientation checklist, the employee will receive a hard hat decal indicating successful completion of the orientation. Here to talk about job site safety is Project Safety Coordinator Taylor Klitsky.
Thank you, Trevor. Hello, I'm Taylor Klitsky, Safety Coordinator at Kraus-Anderson Construction Company. It is not only our goal, but everyone's responsibility to ensure all workers go home safely at the end of the day. In order for employees to work safely and comply with the Lakeview Hospital Site-Specific Safety Plan, they need to know what is expected of them. Since it's impossible to maintain close contact with every individual worker on the job, the use of safety meetings becomes one of the most practical and efficient methods of maintaining safety awareness. These meetings will be used to communicate safety information, including related training, updates, and accident investigation findings. Toolbox meetings will be held by each job site superintendent or foreman on a weekly basis for all individuals under their supervision. The proceedings of these meetings, along with the names of the employees in attendance, will be recorded and forwarded to the Kraus-Anderson Construction Company job site superintendent and safety coordinator to be filed accordingly. This site will also utilize a daily huddle meeting, which will have a strong focus on safety in regards to the day's activities. The goal is to provide everyone with an opportunity to increase their knowledge of work activities, hazards, mitigations, and proactively discuss concerns. An example of these would be an upcoming crane hoist, with a discussion on lift zone and barricaded or restricted areas to avoid until the lift is complete. Stretch and flex. Because strains, sprains, and other soft tissue injuries are very common in construction, all workers on site will be asked to participate in a daily stretch and flex at the beginning of each shift. It is the responsibility of each company to make sure their personnel participate in this activity. Stretching helps prepare your body for work activities. Improves range of motion, circulation, and helps reduce the risk of soft tissue injuries. When stretching, please do so to your own ability. Job safety analysis. Establishing and reviewing the proper procedures prior to beginning work is one of the benefits of conducting a job site safety analysis. The goal is to evaluate and record the main steps of the job, identify existing or potential job hazards, and determine the best way to reduce or eliminate these hazards. All subcontractors will be required to complete a daily job safety analysis and turn them into Kraus-Anderson Construction Company to be filed accordingly. Dropped Object Prevention Plan. Throughout this project, there will be many circumstances that will expose workers to the potential of dropped objects. In an effort to significantly reduce hazards and potential for serious injury associated with dropped objects, this site must establish guidelines to protect workers from exposure. Subcontractors must submit their own plans and will be expected to follow Kraus-Anderson's Falling Object Prevention Plan at a minimum. The plan should address mitigations, employee training, securing tools at heights, and correction procedures. Hazard communication. The Employee Right to Know program requires employees to evaluate their workplaces for existence of hazardous substances, harmful physical agents, infectious agents, and to provide them with training and information to those employees who are routinely exposed to those substances and agents. Regarding hazard communication, the following items must be in place: hazardous substance and agents inventory, container labels, safety data sheets or SDS forms, employee training, personal protective equipment requirements, and other contractors or employees must be informed. Silica exposure plans. While performing certain tasks, workers may be exposed to respirable crystalline silica. Activities such as chipping, hammer drilling, grinding, dry sweeping, etc. may be hazardous. Even materials containing small amounts of silica may be hazardous if they are used in a way that produces high dust concentrations. Employees who perform work or may be exposed to silica shall take measures to reduce the exposure in the workplace. Employers shall develop a silica exposure control plan with task-specific details and submit them to Kraus-Anderson. Engineering controls on tools such as vacuum-provided attachments or water delivery methods shall also be utilized. Respiratory protection program. To prevent harmful exposure to workers, respiratory protection programs must be in place. The primary objective is the control of diseases or illnesses caused by breathing air-contaminated gases or aerosols or dust. In many applications, this is accomplished by the use of engineering controls which will eliminate the need for respiratory protection. When effective engineering controls are not feasible, or even at times when they are, appropriate respirators may be required. It is the responsibility of the subcontractor to verify workers are medically able to wear a respirator and properly train and fit test the individuals who may be using them for work activities. Near miss and accident investigation. All near misses will be reported to the KA superintendent and safety coordinator. A near miss is an unplanned event that could have caused an injury, incident, or property damage, but did not. It is important that all accidents are also reported immediately so prompt care can be provided in the event of an injury or property damage can be minimized. Near misses and accidents will be investigated and documented with the goal of preventing reoccurrence. The KA superintendent will lead the investigation, including completing the near-miss investigation or accident investigation report and verifying completion of all corrective actions. The investigation will determine causes, corrective actions, and will be sent to the KA Safety Department. Occupational injury management. In the event of a work-related accident, our first priority is the care of an injured worker. Kraus-Anderson Construction Company and our subcontractors will make sure that injured personnel are cared for and receive the appropriate medical attention. In the event of an accident or injury, these steps must be followed. All accidents and injuries must be reported to your superintendent or foreman immediately. Upon notice of an accident or injury, the foreman or other responsible person shall determine the severity of the injury. If the injury is severe or life-threatening, call 911 immediately. If qualified, someone may volunteer to administer first aid or medical treatment. An automatic external defibrillator, or AED, is available on site if the victim is unconscious and not breathing. In the event emergency response personnel are needed to come on site, they will be met at an entry gate and informed of the worker's location. If the injury is not life-threatening but requires medical attention, the injured employee shall go to the nearest designated medical provider. At the time of the injury, the employee may not need medical treatment. If at a later time or date the employee decides that medical option is necessary, the employee is to advise their superintendent or foreman prior to seeking medical treatment. Regardless of seriousness, the company's safety representative should be contacted to provide assistance. Worker responsibilities. Safety is an integral part of the operations of Kraus-Anderson Construction Company. With this in mind, each employee shall observe all safety rules and regulations established for the Lakeview Hospital job site. Employees' safety responsibilities are as follows. Observe and comply with the Lakeview Hospital site-specific safety plan along with all applicable federal, state, and local regulations. Work safely in such a manner to ensure your own safety, that of coworkers, and other subcontractors. Request assistance when you're unsure how to perform tasks safely. Correct unsafe acts or conditions observed. Report any uncorrected, unsafe acts or conditions to your superintendent or foreman. Use and maintain all safety devices provided. Report all accidents to your superintendent or foreman immediately, regardless of seriousness. Actively participate in safety activities such as weekly toolbox meetings and other safety meetings or trainings. Report any items for improving job site safety. Disciplinary procedures or notice of safety violations. Your health and welfare is of the utmost importance to Kraus-Anderson. It is the responsibility of the on-site safety representative, project managers, and superintendent or foreman to actively enforce the Lakeview Hospital site-specific safety plan. Violations of safety rules are considered unsatisfactory job performance and will be treated accordingly. Any employee who violates the policies and procedures outlined in the site-specific safety plan and as provided in the applicable labor agreement will be subject to the following discipline with respect to any violations. First offense, verbal warning and instruction on proper procedure that must be followed to avoid another violation. Second offense, written warning to the employee, instructions on proper procedure that must be followed to avoid another violation, and notification to the company's supervisor and safety director. Third offense, disciplinary action that could include discharge for cause as provided in the applicable labor agreement. Based on the severity of the violation, the verbal and/or written warning may be bypassed, and the company may take disciplinary action without further notice or delay, including discharge of the employee. Additional personal protective equipment. When engineering and administrative controls are not enough, additional personal protective equipment, or PPE, shall be used as the last line of defense. Practical PPE must be selected and used to provide additional protection from accidental injuries specific to the job task. Employees are expected to be responsible for proper use and care of protective equipment. Appropriate hand protection is required when welding, grinding, detailing, and working with hazardous substances where the SDS dictates their use. Face shields. Face shields shall be worn for protection from flying particles produced from grinding, chipping, cutting, or welding. Respiratory protective equipment will be used by designated employees when engineering or administrative controls are no longer effective in controlling hazardous conditions. Hearing protection will be provided by your employer and worn in all areas of the job site where noise levels exceed OSHA's permissible exposure noise limit. This includes heavy equipment and jackhammers. To complete this site safety orientation, you will now hear from our lead site safety superintendent, Brian Robinette.
Hi, I'm Brian Robinette, lead superintendent for the Lakeview Hospital project. Basic personal protective equipment. Basic personal protective equipment PPE requirements include Type 2 hard hats, safety glasses, proper footwear, sleeved shirts, long pants, a Class 2 high visibility vest or upper garment. Housekeeping. Housekeeping will be required by all workers as the day progresses. Break areas need to be clean and sanitary at all times. Trash cans with lids are required. Proper guards must be intact and in adequate condition at all times. All electrical, rigging, and fall protection equipment must be inspected prior to each use. All damaged tools and equipment must be tagged out of service and removed from site immediately. All cylindrical materials such as conduit, pipe, and threaded rod must be racked, stacked, and chalked away from primary walkways. Exposed nails must be immediately removed and bent over to avoid accidental contact. The use of any tobacco product, including e-smoke devices, will not be allowed. Electrical safety. All electrical cords and equipment shall be inspected daily and must be immediately removed from service if defective. GFCIs are required at all times. Only authorized electricians are allowed to perform work on primary electrical systems. Appropriate lockout, tagout procedures must be in place at all times. Must comply with all OSHA and NFPA 70E regulations when applicable. Fall protection. 100% tie-off is required when exposed to fall potential 6 feet or greater and in accordance with all OSHA requirements. For certain scopes of work such as steel erection, overhead bricklaying, certain roofing activities, working from ladders or scaffolding, other OSHA regulations apply and must be followed. It is the subcontractor's responsibility to consult with the appropriate representatives if questions arise. Guardrails must be constructed and maintained per OSHA requirements. All hole openings 2 inches or greater must be covered and capable of withstanding 2 times the maximum intended load and marked accordingly as hole or cover. All fall protection equipment must be inspected daily and utilized in accordance with all OSHA requirements. For non-roofing trades, warning lines must be set back a minimum of 15 feet from the edge. Also, for all work conducted between the warning line and roof edge, workers shall be provided with and utilize fall protection arrest equipment. Ladders must be inspected daily, erected, and utilized properly, meeting all OSHA requirements. Scaffolds must be erected by a competent person and meet all applicable OSHA requirements. Fire protection. All individuals must be trained in the proper use and inspection of firefighting equipment. Flammable liquids must be stored in appropriate containers outside the building. Fire extinguishers must be immediately available for all hot work. All primary walkways, stairways, and means of egress must be free of obstructions. Cranes and hoisting. All crane operators, signalers, and riggers must submit current training certifications to KA. Detailed PIC plan must be submitted to KA prior to each applicable scope of work. Do not exceed the capacity of the crane or hoisting equipment. Regularly inspect all rigging and hoisting equipment. Barricade areas below to control lift zones as needed. Stay clear of and never work below suspended loads. Acknowledgement. By signing this checklist, you have acknowledged that you have participated in the job site employee orientation and were instructed in the recognition and avoidance of unsafe conditions and work practices. You also acknowledge that violating any policy set forth in this orientation or failing to follow safe work practices may result in immediate discharge. The safety department, project managers, superintendents, and foremen all have full support of management in enforcing the provisions of this policy related to the responsibilities assigned to them. So in closing, we hope you share our concerns for providing a safe place in which to work. To do so, all of us must work together. Help yourself and your coworkers to be aware of and practice safe work habits. Thank you for your attention and welcome to the Lakeview Hospital Project.